So we are going to set up our social studies notebook. So this is my blue notebook. I'm going to use my straight edge and I am going to draw a line down the side here. So one side is big, one side is small. On the top, I'm going to write table of contents. On this first line, I'm going to write unit. And over here, I'm going to write page. So that's all that I'm writing in my table of contents for right now. I'm going to flip the page. I can put this on the back side, just my line again. So I'm going to use my straight edge and just sort of make a line going down this side to make another narrow part. Put page and unit. Now, time to look at my first unit. So, our first social studies unit is on social construction of identity. I'm going to put the essential question, which is, let me refresh my memory. Can we know the whole story behind a historical event? Can we know the whole story behind a historical event? So today's activity that we worked on was draw your history. So with draw your history, this is only a 5-minute drawing, and let's go through what you need to include in this. So you are going to draw your own personal history. It is going to be a really quick activity. It won't be graded, and you shouldn't get stressed out about whether you're a good artist or not. This activity, you can label your pictures, you can draw stick figures, however you want to do this is fine. So take out a piece of paper and set a 5-minute timer and draw the history of your life. You can pause right now. Okay, so you should have taken some time to draw your own history. Now ask yourself if you included anything about school. Did you include anything about a much younger childhood? What about your parents? What about something from your parents' childhood? Anything about your grandparents in this drawing? Anything that happened over 100 years ago? What about 1,000 years ago? More than likely, you didn't include anything 100 years ago or 1,000 years ago. But how many of you talked about anything further away than the state we're currently in? How many of you talked about anything further away than the country we're currently in? What was the most distant place that you mentioned? Why did you pick the facts and events you chose to draw? You only did a few minutes to draw your entire history. How did you decide what was important enough to include? And finally, is it ever possible to include an entire history of you to be complete? What would it mean for the story, for history to be complete? How can you tell? How long do you think it would take you to write the entire story of history? Okay, so that is setting up your notebook and our first activity, draw your history. Take care.